Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I've been married to my wife, Ashley, for 7 years. I'm the one that works. Ashley spends her time volunteering at a charity she started. I'm fine with this, as I make enough for both of us. In financial decisions, we have equal say. I will admit that I am the numbers nerd of the relationship, so I do the budget and handle our investments. My wife has equal input into the budget. We both have to agree on it. Like many people, we are saving for retirement and a couple of other financial goals. Ashley's sister and her family are going through a lot of financial issues at the moment. My brother-in-law lost his job, and my sister-in-law is reaching out to my wife for help. They are asking for us to cover their monthly expenses. I said no. While we have some discretionary money, we don't have that much. Both my wife and I get fun money to spend however we wish each month. I told my wife that I would match whatever amount of her fun money she wants to give her sister for my fun money. My wife doesn't want to do that. She says that won't be enough money. She wants us to reduce the amount we are saving each month to help her sister. I refused. I do not want to jeopardize my family's future for her sister's present. Ashley was very unhappy with my answer, but I refused to change my mind. I found out last week that my wife gave her sister money out of our general savings account. I was furious. To me, this is a complete betrayal of trust. I confronted her, and her reply was that I forced her to go behind my back by being unreasonable. I was angry. I ended up going to the bank and opening up new accounts in my name only. I moved the balances to my new accounts. I left in enough money for the expenses that she typically pays according to our budget, things like groceries, her gas, etc., as well as her fun money. I did not leave her without access to money. I did leave her with access only to money that she is supposed to spend according to the budget we both agreed to. I went home and told her what I had done. She is accusing me of financially mistreating her. I pointed out that she is the one that mistreated my trust, not the other way around. That it is on her to prove to me that she is worthy of my trust, because after what she did, I don't trust her anymore. She said that if that was the case, she would just leave, that she wasn't going to be treated as a child. I told her to leave then, because I wasn't going to give her the opportunity to steal from me again, when it's clear she isn't even sorry for what she did. She left to stay with her sister. I believe I am completely justified for what I have done. She is the one that broke our agreement. Did I take it too far, though? This was the first time she ever did anything like this. Did I let anger get the best of me? Am I the a-hole for taking away her access to the money? Oof. OP's wife showed an utter lack of respect by going behind OP's back and using shared money to give her sister, when OP was clearly against it. Maybe OP's wife should get a job if she wants to give her sister money so much. She doesn't value the money because she doesn't have to do anything for it. If they decide to stay together, they will need couples therapy and maybe individual therapy. Looks like the two of them aren't able to find proper compromises or trust each other. And there's no relationship without trust. And now let's hear the community's opinion and an update afterwards. You suck. Everybody sucks here. I can't believe the number of people here telling you you're completely in the right. What your wife did was horrible and inappropriate 100%. But you took away her access to her money just as much as yours. You are married. It doesn't matter who earns it. She isn't taking your shared money to spend it on D or gambling it away. She's using it to help someone. You may value your financial goals more, but it sounds like she values her sister's well-being more. You both need to thoroughly talk this out immediately. I've seen longer marriages end over less. Forced her to go behind your back? Huh? If you asked her for an open marriage, she said no, and you went ahead and started dating, would that same logic apply? I mean, she said no, so she forced you to go behind her back. That's one of the poorest excuses I've ever heard, and the exact opposite of how things work. Touch of entitlement, not the a-hole. Everyone sucks here. Your wife shouldn't have taken that amount of money, but by your own comment, the amount was around $3,000, which will not have a huge effect on our overall finances. Helping her family out with the amount from your savings isn't having much of an effect on your finances. I specifically have a savings account for emergencies, and maybe it's used on an unexpected medical bill or home repair, or maybe it's helping a family member out short-term if they need it. If this wasn't a huge impact, why were you so insistent on not pulling it out of savings? Also, instead of talking to her about the betrayal, You immediately cut off her access to the majority of your finances, assuming that one mistake means she's going to bankrupt you. Update. First, after reading the posts, I agreed that it was not fair that I had access to our savings and she did not, even though she gave some away without my consent. Following the advice of several posters, I contacted my bank, and I found that the account could be changed so that while both of us could deposit money, it would take both our signatures to take money out of the account. This would give her the same control over the accounts that I had by putting them under my name. I contacted Ashley to let her know that I would put the money back in the joint account if we switched the account to require both of our signatures. She said no, that just showed that I didn't trust her. I told her I didn't. She had taken money without my consent. Of course I didn't trust her. She refuses to change the account. I refuse to give her unrestricted access. So right now I'm still the only one with access to the money. We also tried marriage counseling, another suggestion that posters brought up multiple times. The counselor asked both of us to say what we thought was wrong with our relationship. Ashley said that I had mistreated her by taking away her access to money. I said that Ashley had broken my trust by giving away money without my consent. It took a few sessions, but it became pretty clear that we just weren't going to see things the same way. I wasn't going to commit to supporting her sister's family, and she refused to see giving them money without my consent as a breach of trust. The kicker came when it got to be close to the end of the month, and Ashley demanded, not asked, demanded, that I put $3,000 in the account for her to use to pay her sister's bills. Her reasoning was since she stayed there, we owed it to them. I told her she was ridiculous, and if I wouldn't do that while we were together, why in the world would I do it now? She walked out of the session and told me that she wouldn't continue counseling until I agreed. I contacted a lawyer and filed for a legal separation and will be filing for divorce. I found that I am legally obligated to pay usual and ordinary bills of the household, but I am not required to pay any bills for where she moved to since she left voluntarily. So I'm doing what I'm required to, including things like paying for her car insurance and her cell phone, but I am not giving her access to any other funds. She has asked, more like demanded, I give her money, as she will be getting it when we divorce. But I don't have any way of making sure whatever she is given comes out of the final settlement, so I'm refusing. So it's only 2 weeks before the wedding, and my fiance's brothers, let's call him John, male 21, new girlfriend, let's call her Betty, female 18, caused a lot of drama at the bridal shower this past weekend. This has been an ongoing problem since they started dating. They got a promise ring shortly after dating, which I have no problem with at all. But at the bridal shower, she used it to brag a lot and kept making comments such as calling my fiance's mom her mother-in-law. And she said to me I'd soon be part of the family, as though she is already married to John. She also spread a rumor about one of the nicest ladies at the bridal shower, my neighbor, saying she had flirted with Betty's father, not father-in-law, her real father, which was merely impossible, as she is married and is one of the most kind-hearted people I know and has never met Betty. We asked the neighbor if she was indeed at the pub where Betty works at the previous night, where Betty claimed it happened, and the neighbor said no, she was at home. A lot more went down, and after, Betty was extremely rude to my maid of honor. I had to go up to her and ask her to stop being rude to my guests and to please stop gossiping. Shortly thereafter, a lady on their table came up to me and asked to sit with me, as she couldn't stand the bad-mouthing by Betty at the table. My maid of honor then took it upon herself to uninvite Betty, as she caused a lot of problems and generally just took away from one of the special moments in my life. After she sent her a message, Betty simply ignored it. My maid of honor then told me about this, and I decided that she was right, as it is her duty to make the wedding run smoothly, and as this has happened so many times before. My fiance's father thinks I'm tearing the family apart for uninviting her, even after I said that John was still to come as a groomsman and as my fiance's brother. My fiance's dad and brother have decided that if Betty is not invited, they would not attend either. I left out a lot of her actions as I did not want to elaborate on everything. I'm honestly stuck as to what to do. My fiance feels that if his family chooses John's new girlfriend over his wedding, then they don't care about him enough. It hurts to be in this situation. We want our wedding to run smoothly and drama-free, and Betty might not make this possible. So am I the a-hole for uninviting Betty? Edit. Some side notes. My family is paying for the entire wedding. It is also my birthday 2 days after the wedding, so it is also a birthday celebration for me, as I'm turning 21. Betty is going overseas for a year without John, and for this reason wasn't invited to the wedding, but then invited herself after she failed to hand in her paperwork on time. John has always appeared to be the golden child. John and father-in-law often show jealousy towards my fiancé, as he is the younger brother, but he is more successful than both of them. My fiancé and I discussed it before making the decision together to uninvite her. He agreed to not have her at the wedding, even at the cost of his brother not coming. Multiple comments suggest Betty might be pregnant, and this is a possibility. She posted a negative pregnancy test on Snapchat at the start of their relationship and said, "We made it!" So they are intimate. Also, my fiancé mentioned to me the other day that she was standing weird when talking to his family. She was pushing out her belly, which makes it even more suspicious. And if this is the case, I'd be scared she will announce it at the wedding. She might be faking it, or impregnated herself by making use of a used condom when John wasn't looking. OP deserves drama-free time. She needs to think about herself in this situation. Girlfriend's behavior sounds extreme and disruptive, and she just screams trouble. I would be concerned about how she would behave at the wedding. Since the wedding is only 2 weeks away, there's not enough time to see if her behavior can improve. She's also not a member of OP's fiancé's family. She has not been dating future brother-in-law very long. So yeah, I personally would not risk her ruining my day. What about you guys? And now let's hear the community's opinion and an update after. Not the a-hole. She caused a bunch of trouble, so she got uninvited. The lesson is not to cause trouble. Your maid of honor stepped up and did her job and took care of this for you so that you don't need to worry about it. So back her up. This is one of the main reasons you made her the maid of honor, and any questions about it can go through her. And there's not a scenario where you would have to be a part of these conversations because you have someone to handle them for you. Let the maid of honor know that you support her completely and the discussion is closed. And then refer any questions about it to her, with her instructions being to tell whomever to just F off about it and move on. You have a wedding to plan, and there's not enough time in the schedule for this drama queen's problems to be dealt with, since she's already been dealt with. This is a tough one. If you don't invite Betty, some of your fiancé's family may not come. But if you do, it's sure to be a drama-filled day. It all depends on how you want the day to go. She sounds like trouble, and I'm sure alcohol will be involved, which will make things worse. If the family won't come because Betty's not invited, tell them you're sorry and you'll miss them on your big day. Why take the risk that the trash will ruin your day? Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You made the right decision. Betty is a high school kid dating a college boy who likely feels that this makes her special and grown up. She was surrounded by actual grown-ups, though, and acted like a 14-year-old mean girl from a bad sitcom. Part of me thinks father-in-law may just be bluffing with his threat, especially if he's used to getting his way. Is father-in-law the kind of guy who likes to play the in-charge patriarch dealing with the emotional, hysterical women laying down the law? Because with his chest-puffing attitude you described, he sounds like it. If so, actually being challenged will likely shock him a bit, especially if you don't back down to his threat like he seems to be anticipating. I also wouldn't discount mother-in-law taking him down on the day. Brother-in-law may continue to throw a tantrum to daddy, because Betty is having some teenage fantasy power trip and making him miserable. But your wedding is definitely better off without that nightmare couple, regardless of the cost. Update. After day 1, father-in-law swore at my fiancé and yelled at him as if he was a child that must obey his father in everything he does. After my fiancé said he is not willing to change his mind, father-in-law showed up at my fiancé's work and said that he will be attending the wedding with brother-in-law, but they are extremely upset. He was extremely manipulative, and I still do not understand why father-in-law is reacting so harshly. Update after the wedding. Basically, the wedding was absolutely amazing. A few things went wrong, as they do, such as it raining and the power going out, but we managed to fix all that. Basically, I'm so happy that we did not invite Betty. There was a lot of drama, though. Father-in-law called maid of honor a fat bee who tore the family apart during my husband's speech. My husband decided that we would keep both surnames to honor both families from here on. Father-in-law got so upset about this and was in a terrible mood the entire wedding. Husband was saddened by their behavior, and they ended up leaving super early. Father-in-law keeps on sticking up for John and Betty, and husband and I have basically given up on caring about it. At the end of the day, we are extremely happy, and we have peace in our hearts about everything. Also, side note, Betty is acting very pregnant, but says she's only planning for kids in 2 years' time, etc. Husband and I have planned to have kids, and everyone knows that we are TTC, but I guess that is insignificant. Betty has been extremely rude to me, which I sort of get, but any advice would be amazing. Once again, thanks for all the love and support. Also, it has been about 9 months since the wedding, and most of the family hates Betty as they discovered who she really is. I'm gonna keep it short. I, female 25, am getting married to my fiancé next month. We've had no issues with the wedding planning, except the guest list. Context: I have a large family. I have 2 stepsisters, 18 and 20, and a biological brother, 27, and also a biological sister, 30. My fiancé argued that the guest list should be cut short and suggested I only invite my immediate family. I asked him to elaborate, and he suggested excluding my stepsisters. I said no and got upset with him for implying that they're not family. He said, "Well, that wasn't what I meant. I was just speaking from a technical angle, especially since I didn't include them in the wedding party, like maid of honor and bridesmaids." So he thought they were unneeded, but I said they were wanted and will always be wanted and included by me. Well, days ago, my stepsisters called saying my fiancé canceled their invitations and told them some lie about changing wedding location and telling them they won't be able to come. I was fuming. I went home and started screaming at him. He asked that I hear him out, then explained that he had no choice since we were required to shorten the list, and he just did my dirty work for me, since I obviously was looking at the situation from an emotional angle and couldn't bring myself to disinvite my stepsisters myself. I called him a hypocrite, cause he invited almost 6 of his friends, who as far as I know, aren't immediate family. I told him he hurt my stepsisters by going behind my back and excluding them from my wedding, which they've been so excited about. He got up from the couch and yelled that it's our wedding, and so my stepsister's feelings aren't really that relevant compared to his, and called me controlling for wanting my way or the highway. He took his phone and stormed out to see his friends. Some of his friends called to scold me for how I'm treating their brother, and then went on about how rude I was to suggest that their brother disinvite them from the wedding just because I don't like them, and called it a you problem. My future mother-in-law called and is wanting to speak to me. He probably told her what's going on, and she's probably going to ask that I apologize for yelling. Wow. Just wow. OP, run. Do not marry this man. He doesn't even grasp the basics of family. Is this the kind of father OP wants for her kids? This is OP's family, but he's not getting that. Uninviting OP's stepsisters behind OP's back is not only immature, inappropriate, but also evil. OP should not expect the marriage to be any different. The only way you could be an a-hole is if you married this guy. Give yourself a better future. Run. Not the a-hole, but this should be the end of your relationship. The very end. Pack your stuff and get out of there. Not the a-hole, and you should call that wedding off ASAP. He clearly doesn't care about your feelings. You said they were family and you wanted them there, and then he went behind your back and cut them off, even lying to them instead of telling them the truth. Is this the kind of person you want to spend your life with?